it was pretty much birds and fishing, trout fishing. And on the birding portion, I had arranged to visit a coastal site, an estuary south of Auckland on the North Island, which was known for big shorebird concentrations. It's called the Karaka Shell Banks. And it's a protected area today. In fact, you have to make special arrangements even to access the site. Back when I was there in the 80s, I just made a phone call and a guy was able to gain access to it. So we show up in the morning, we go through the gate, we walk across a farm field down to the edge of the estuary, and the tide is out. And when I say out, I can't even see the edge of the water. It's just flats in front of us as far as the eye can see. And the occasional shorebird, that's it. There's not much going on at all. And yes, there were these big shell banks, long, sinuous piles of tiny snail shells that I thought were quite curious. What forms these piles? Well, before long, the tide turned, and I started to see clouds of seabirds off in the distance towards the bay itself, coming closer and closer as the tide flooded this flat. And when I say flooded the flat, it was walking speed, the advance of the water, right? And the birds were being pushed towards us as the tide came in. And I guess it's that big tide range and the currents associated with it that create these shell banks. But before long, we were surrounded by clouds of bar-tailed Godwits and far Eastern Curlews and all manner of other shorebirds. The local races of Oystercatcher and a Marsh Sandpiper. And it was just one of the great, shorebird concentrations that I've ever seen. And I've seen some good ones. And by the time we left that site, the only thing that was dry were the very tops of these shell banks, which were coated with birds roosting, waiting for the tide to drop so that they could feed on the flat again. But just seeing the clouds of those birds, many of which I'd never seen before, shorebirds, that's a pretty memorable day too.